coffee time. Yes, Saturday morning, you're tuned in to Collectors Radio, and this time around we're doing some what we call a fistful of awesome. That's right. In a sense, not to put anybody's stuff down, but no polymer allowed kind of a show. So anyway, here we go. We're going to read some comments here, no particular order. If your comment was not read, obviously maybe there was a few reasons. You're kind of we did the production after the fact, or before you had done your comment or whatnot. So we do kind of roll with these early in the week. We kind of get these things done up and filmed for you guys, so we can have a nice radio show for you every Saturday and try to get on point with that. So in order for us to do it, it's kind of like the film industry. You got to kind of work on it, and as it's released, you get to see it. All right. So speaking of that, you guys remind me to talk about a movie this time around because of something that's going on with it. But anyway, all right, here we go. First up, Lion Quest Fitness. Well, I'm not a 1911 aficionado. Neither am I. I always say it's like Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. Anyway, but I learned something you and others told me. Don't go cheap on magazines. Yes, absolutely. I will say this right now. I don't get paid by anybody, okay? I don't get paid by any company to promote their stuff or whatnot. I don't believe in doing that, really. So, but I'm going to say this. I pretty much always use a Wilson Combat magazine for my 1911s. I've just, over the years, for me, I spent a lot of money on other types of magazines out there, and in the end I ended up just trashing them, all of them, until I just started pretty much going for in the end I honestly spent less money buying the Wilsons, because now I've got a bunch of Wilson Combat magazines, and I don't need to get any other ones. For instance, one of my favorite rounds to shoot out of a 1911, even though some people find it sacrilegious, is 9mm. And I believe that for me that the Wilson Combat 9mm magazine is definitely the way to go. It's the one I run all the time. This one here happens to be just the what is this one? This is a Vickers Tactical magazine. You don't have to go all crazy like that. Their regular ETM magazines work just fine. I think they're right around $40, and that's speaking on the high, at least the last time I remember. You don't have to have the full-on like super expensive one or anything like that, but I do find that these are the best. They just work. I've seen so many that I was using where they would actually crack right here on the back, right here on the little ears on the back of the magazine. They would actually, I seen them just shear right down or start splitting open and stuff. So, and of course, these Wilsons are made with quality steel and everything. There's a reason why they are, in some cases, twice as much as some of the other ones, because the other ones, you need twice as many just to have them run half the time, I guess. I don't know. That's just been my deal. So, but I've met so many people. I actually sold a guy a gun, a 1911, that he came back at me and said, "Oh, the gun's junk, it doesn't work." And it's like, yet you're running this cheapo magazine that the follower, you could even push down with your finger and watch the follower not even come up to the top. Come on, dude. Like, seriously, I would not do that to you. But it happens, right? All right, Scottish American. This industry has definitely had many ups and downs for me as well. But I have to say the ups, take it as I've met many great people, dear friends, including yourself. Well, I appreciate that greatly. Yeah, and talking about being an old soul is, and that's it. I mean, for me, I got into all this kind of stuff not because it was collectible, not because it was worth money. It was because that was my interest. That's all I was interested in. I had the collectability and the worth money aspect of it just became pretty much like a bonus, if you will. Like, it was like, well, that wasn't the intention, but it's pretty cool that it's like that. All right. Danger Man. I love to watch Collectors Radio. It's the best way to be entertained and learn something at the same time. I appreciate your recommendations for products as well as other YouTube channels, and there is a lot of great other YouTube channels out there that I think that have really next to no subscribers that really deserve a ton more. I'm grateful that I got as many that subscribe to this platform here that we do. I'm actually shocked that that even happened, but we've been at it for a long time, and we do appreciate everybody that did subscribe, is a subscriber. And when I go through and read comments sometimes and see, it actually does tell me who's actually subscribed and how long they've been subscribed, which is kind of an interesting feature. It also kind of goes to show you how many people are not subscribed. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, as you recommended. I guess Milsurp Garage is a good place, and another good channel out there. Massive detail and stuff like that on firearms, so it's pretty cool. All right, Warren Nass. Hey, Bat Jack. I also think the first 100 years is a good 1911 book as well, entry level, large history and a war history. Yes, it is. Those of you that don't know what he's talking about, which I'm glad he mentioned it, because it is another good book, and it's fairly inexpensive. I think they're on like version 2 now or something like that. I remember getting the first, the one I got is the first printing. But yeah, the first 100 years of the 1911 book is a good book. It shows a lot of early guns, but it does show a lot of custom stuff as well. I think it's a good book. I definitely would recommend that as well. All right, Sean Lee, happy Saturday. Great content this morning. I feel like I get to learn a little something each week. Appreciate it, and we do appreciate that greatly. We do thank you. Appreciate that. The Bohemian Hunting Club, speaking of good channels, definitely a good channel there. Interesting books, and pictures look really good. Yes, the Vickers books are phenomenal. All right, Harrison Mantooth, I'm having a heck of a time finding 44 ammo, especially 44 special. Anyone have a clue where I could find some? I've tried multiple shops, online sources. Oh, I see it going over $1 a round. Large pistol primers are also scarce as hen's teeth. Yeah, large pistol primers, I did notice, has taken kind of a little bit of a weird turn, where it used to be all you could find was large. Now it seems to be. So I think it's just going back and forth. I think as things are getting caught up, like 9mm rounds, like, as you guys remember, the 9mm shortage is crazy, but now I think they're catching up with so much of that. It's loosening up the small pistol primers, but then now they're kind of focusing on the bigger stuff, which is maybe consuming the large pistol primers. I don't know. I'm just throwing my ideas in the hat of many things floating around. But if anybody knows that where they could, where Harrison Mantooth here, I believe, Stan, can get some 44 special ammo or anything like that, let us know in the comments. I've always actually hand loaded mine. I've never bought an actual box of 44 specials, so I do know it's always been expensive, but I've definitely always pressed my own. All right, Joe P., you gave me homework assignment this week. What the heck is a Smith & Wesson 657? From what I understand, it's the stainless version of a 41 Magnum. I should have known that, because I think that, if I remember right, the Model 57 is a 41 Mag, but which I've never owned, never shot. So there you go with that. Okay, so off with that. But what I have out here is a fistful of awesome, which I kind of collected some stuff that, for me, if you're looking at really cool stuff that's still on the awesome list, can be collectible, but also at the same time, I understand not everybody is going to want to, you can't, some things you just can't find, but, say, a Model 29-2 vintage or something like that, it's going to be, yeah, I mean, you could run somebody as much as $2,000. I'm guessing, it could run up some pretty decent, pretty hefty prices and all that. But at the same time, there's still stuff out there that's awesome. These are some of my range, stuff. A couple of the other revolvers I threw in here just to kind of show that there is other variations of revolvers that are priced pointed differently. Everything on this table here cost me less than $1,000. So I don't know with the prices, they keep going like crazy. So, but I still believe that my selections here are stuff that you can still find and get for a decent price. At least that's the way I think. But before we get started with that, there is something I do want to talk to you guys about, which is a movie. This is some crazy stuff, I think. And basically I want to say, get your copy on Blu-ray or DVD or whatnot now while you can, and that is The French Connection. I've recently learned that, which I've never been a fan of streaming or anything like that myself anyhow, but apparently they have done their censorship on the movie, and they've cut out some things in the movie that I feel like, where a lot of people have lashed out and said it's like defacing, it's like vandalism, you're defacing art. I do believe so as well. Yes, maybe a movie may not be politically correct or whatnot, that you have now, but I still think it's a part of history, and The French Connection is certainly one of those films. Watching it, it's like, did I never felt any, I didn't ever feel offended by the movie at all. I felt entertained. I felt like it's a totally awesome movie. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that. But it has caused the physical hard media copies to skyrocket. And I've been saying this again. And this thing is what I kick myself so much, because I got rid of my VHS collection back in the day. And I regret it, because some of those VHS tapes are like actually worth money, which I'm like, I knew it. I knew they were going to be worth money, and I missed out on that. I should have kept them. I wish I did, but that's how it goes. But anyway, hang on to physical, or your hard copies, physical media all the way. So, all right, now we got that out of the way. But anyway, let's go through and kind of look at some stuff here. These are my range blasters. Like I said, I take this stuff out to the range, enjoy it from time to time. So one of my favorites, really, which is many of you that have been subscribed or been watching the content for a long time, this will not come to a surprise to you. One of my favorite blasters of all time is my Commander variant, 1911 9mm. Yes, I know. It's a lightweight Commander because it's got an alloy frame, and it's the Commander variant. Just means basically it's the same as a government model. That's what I think the major thing is. People don't understand that the full-size government model is the original, the greatness that John Browning designed and everything. That's been there, done that, the whole thing. Okay, the 5-inch model, whatever you want to call it, the full-size government model. Okay, the Commander variant, all it means is they shortened the slide and barrel by literally like an inch or so, or a quarter inch, or I think that's it, like a quarter inch or something. That's it. That's all it is. It's just slightly shorter, but the frame is identical. The frame, the grip. The grips fit on the same, if you have a Commander model, the grips are interchangeable. So is the magazines. You can put the magazine like this, even though this is a 9mm magazine, this is a 45. It'll fit. Here's the Commander model. That is the same thing. The grip's the same. But when it gets shorter than that or different, he's talking about like the officer's model. Now the officer model, and this is, I'm speaking kind of Colt language. This is Colt's kind of their, labeling of it. I don't know if other companies can actually call it that. I don't know if they hold like you can't use that name because that's ours. So that very well could be. Like this is the Springfield Armory Ronin here. But the officer model is actually a shorter grip and shorter slide and everything, so that is an entirely different one. That definitely did change. So, but yeah, that's one of my favorite ones to take to the range for sure. I love shooting this thing. It's just a great fun shooter. It's pleasant to shoot. It doesn't have a violent recoil, and I really do believe that this is the best package in a 1911, which you got the alloy or a lightweight frame commander variant in 9mm. So I know some people just don't get, they can't wrap their head around it. But trust me, when I say this, I'm a diehard 45 guy. I love the original 1911 45. It's just certainly that emotional part of me. Just, I love the old Colt 45. I really do. This one here is their newer model, the government model that they put out. I guess it's called the Classic Series or the C Series or whatnot. It's basically a hybrid of kind of a throwback to the old commercial guns, pre-Series 70 roll marks on it and everything. So it's kind of cool that Colt did offer these, and they're out there. I was very lucky that I grabbed mine before the frenzy, and mine was under $800. And it just, now, I mean, I still think, I will say this, I'll throw this out, I still think this gun is worth up to $1,000. I really do. I still think that gun, if I paid $1,000 for another one or whatnot, I still wouldn't walk away saying that, oh, I don't know, I think I overpaid. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would feel like I still got a decent value. I really would. So just throwing that out there. The other thing is old single action. You could say, oh man, that's old hats or whatnot. But you know what? I don't know if you've never messed with one and taken it to the range. It is a blast, literally, pun intended. It's a blast, especially if you grew up watching all those old, westerns. Of course, you can tell by looking at this. I'm very much of a Duke fan. I love El Dorado and all that. So. But yeah, this one here is in 3840. Again, it's a kind of one of those calibers where you got to kind of hand load for it. Speaking of, not trying to, not finding 44 special or something, trying to find 3840, yeah, forget it. You're hand loading. But yeah, no, this is, I mean, to go out to the range and actually, play with one of these, that's a ton of fun, a lot of fun. So now getting into the double action revolvers, Old Smith Model 10. Model 10s are all over the place. You don't necessarily have to have a little snubby like this one. This is a under, I think this is like a 1 and a something inch barrel. It's a little shorty, but it's a K-frame, 6-shot snub. That's why I like it. It holds 6 rounds. It's really interesting to see something like that. And it's a sizable, little snubby with the wide grips or the square butt grips, and so. It's kind of a really neat. That's the first revolver I ever bought. I still have it. I still keep it in the collection. It's a Model 10.5, and a little short barrel and everything. So I do like it. It's not like it's a super vintage, but it is fairly vintage. It's got a little pin through the barrel, but always like the way it looks. The lines of this gun. It's very sexy. So the other one throw in there, another Smith, beautiful, Model 15. Yeah, nice little Model 15 Smith & Wesson K-frame. I got a little bit larger grips on this one here, but yeah, great gun. Locks up beautifully. Roy Scheider carried one of these in Jaws. So really cool stuff. Again, these are out there. They're not exactly, it's not like you have to spend a whole lot of money on them. I guess it would also depend on where you're at, but you don't have to have something but super expensive. But these are just, to me, Fistful awesomeness. I mean, this is stuff that I think is awesome. That yeah, Polymer Wonder stuff has, I guess, its place or whatnot. But there's something about stuff like this that just, there's a feel to them when you hold them in your hands. You take them to the range and shoot them and everything. There's definitely an appeal to it. And definitely a romance for sure for me with these things. I love shooting them, love collecting them, and a lot of times, they're kind of, the old movies have really inspired a lot of them. So, again, like, This one here, I pretty much purchased that actually had nothing to do with the film, which is rare for me, extremely rare. This was strictly a range toy for me. I said, you know what, I had to have it, and normally I do. I get rid of stuff really quickly. I don't keep things very long. Things usually move on. As you can see, these have not. These are kind of my range stuff. But this is one of those guns. This is one of the newer buys that I've done, aside for something like this. And these are all newer things that I buy that I actually kept, because I'm very notorious for getting something and pretty much in a couple of weeks it's gone down the road, out of sight, out of mind, off the table, and dwindled down the collection to very, very thin numbers. But I kept stuff like this because honestly, it's a great range gun. I love it. It's good times at the range. In fact, we're getting ready to take it back out again. We're gonna go back out there, me and my buddy. So, but yeah. Anyway, just kind of wanted to show that to you. Fistful of awesome, and share that with you. So we'll let you get back on with your weekend. And thanks for tuning in.